Any news on, Younger's availability and what the plan is for him this season?
He is going with us this weekend.
Yep.
He's going. So right now he's had a good week of training. Now everything I say, it's Tuesday and we leave Friday. So in this craziness right now, anything could possibly change. But he's going to get a good scrap in tomorrow, and if everything goes like it's gone the last week and a half, he's going to go. I think we've got Evan Frost good to go. He just kind of got a little bit of a flu bug last week. Let's see who else we got out there. Tarakina is going to weigh in and go, so we're going to be a little bit healthier this week, and I think hopefully that's the theme as we get into, the last guy. Obviously, we don't have access to Uten and Swiderski this year, but the last guy that that we can get into the fold is Anthony, and right now they're saying late January with him. So I'm not sure where everybody's going to shake out yet, completely weight-wise. We got to figure that out, but most importantly, we got to get healthy, and then we can figure that out. But we do have some options to move some guys around, and over the holidays we're gonna see just kind of how healthy we are when we get done with this weekend, and then make some decisions.
What's it kind of been like with a lot of unexpected injuries, kind of navigating the lineup?
It's been tough. It has, but I'd rather have them now than in February or March, and I do think this can be a really good team once we get to February. I think this can be a really good team. So, it's been, it's been a challenge, but the good side of it is we've got to see some guys wrestle. I just think you guys just got done talking to Daniel Herrera. You probably would have seen Daniel Herrera once or twice this year, and look at how much you've seen Daniel Herrera go. So there is a silver lining in all of this.
Would you expect MJ or Evan, obviously listed on oars on here? What's their status for this coming
Both
weekend?
of those guys. Evan is definitely ready to go. MJ, we're going to see how things go tomorrow. But the plan right now is we think he's going to do well tomorrow. If he does well tomorrow, then he'll be available to wrestle. So, like I said, we're slowly getting there.
How has Daniel benefited from being in the same room as Younger? Whether
I
Younger
think
can go or not.
I think tremendously. They haven't got to wrestle a lot lately just because Younger's been banged up. But he moved here last year as a senior in high school, so he got his first feel of Younger last year, and obviously he scrapped with him a lot in the fall and all the way up until Younger got injured. But he's taking some beatings. He's taking beatings, major beatings, lots of beatings. But I do see signs of him fighting and competing and staying in there.
He said the first time he got into a body lock with Younger, there is some fear involved in that. Do you remember that specific time? Or?
No,
Okay.
but there should have been. Yeah, there should have been fear in there. Should not be there.
Yeah.
So.
What does it say about him? For us to trim down as much as he has, because it can be really easy to settle in at a weight, and especially when you've got habits. He described his habits, what they were like, and oh boy, and now it's changed.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see. I'll be curious to see that interview because usually heavyweights are heavyweights for a reason, and it's usually diet related. But he's obviously got a really big frame, so he's a natural born heavyweight. But no, it wasn't. I think he was close to 290 when he got here, and it wasn't a good 290. Yeah. And even talking with his parents, Daniel only going to eat a few things, and none of them were good. So the more he becomes a professional. It's just like everybody on our team; they all have to be professionals in different ways. He's never going to have to miss a meal, obviously, based on his weight class. But what he eats is going to be huge in his success down the road, and I think he's starting to see that. And I said, you got to look the part too. Like sometimes when you step on that scale and you got a bunch of guys standing next to you with not much clothes on, you got to pass the eyeball test, and you can scare a lot of guys at weigh-ins. And you need to make sure that you're on the right end of the scaring, and I think he's starting to get there.
Are there any big positives or negatives you took away from Humboldt, maybe going into the Collegiate Duals?
It was good for some of our guys to get in there and get some matches. I thought, Osmani, we're going to bring him at 133. I thought that was good for him. He beat one of their better guys. Thought he did a really good job. Fausick didn't win, but I liked the way he competed. Nando wrestles really, really hard. Obviously, Daniel had a good win for us. It was good to get Cody Chittum back out there. I really thought it was good for him to get back out there. He just needs matches right now, and the more reps he gets, the better he's going to be. So, yeah, there's a lot of positives.
What's it like for Cody to go? We talked to him on Media Day, and he said he was really disappointed with how he finished last season. And then, it goes through so much uncertainty. And now he's got a chance, to go out and reignite kind of.
Right, and I think the biggest growth we've seen with Cody is not so much in the wrestling part of things, because he's always been a pretty good wrestler. Is just keeping his composure. And I think that match on Sunday was a perfect example of it, because he didn't have a great first period. And I'm sure the other guy had something to do with that too. I mean, you have to learn how to wrestle as a favorite. So sometimes those guys that get in that underdog role really like that underdog role, and they're going to hang on for dear life as long as they can. And obviously, he got in the hole. He was down 5-1, 5-0, something like that, and he figured out how to get back in the match. And then obviously he hit the big move. But I don't know if he would have been able to do that last year, because last year when things started going wrong, the wheels kind of came off a little bit, and there was a lot of over wrestling, a lot of impatience, and I see a guy that's starting to fix that.
What's the balance?
Go ahead, Ben.
Okay. What's the balance between, obviously you guys preach aggressiveness, get out there, get after your attacks. What's the balance between that aggressiveness and that patience that you speak of for Cody Chittum?
That's a good question, and I think just letting the match come to you a little bit. I mean, you got to go out there and be going forward and be very intentional and be takedown and point oriented, but not at the cost of just shooting and making all kinds of mistakes. It's got to be calculated, and if you're going to take all those shots, you got to learn how to wrestle out of them. You can't be that person that goes and takes those shots, and every time you take a bad shot, your opponent scores on you. So it is that's why the wrestling room's so valuable. That's the laboratory, and when you figure that out in there, then it happens over there.
With Cody Chittum and other guys, how has the response been from the team themselves as you kind of move guys up and down, or as you approach guys, maybe some drop away to go up away, as you guys kind of try and figure out what the sweet spot is for the starting lineup?
I think these guys are just kind of dialed into their own little world. They're all in their own little world, I think. I don't think that right now they're thinking about team and March right now. I think they're just all trying to get as many matches as they can, try to put themselves in the best position at the end of the year when we go get seeded for the Big 12 and the Nationals, and let us worry about who needs to be where and when, and I tell them all right now, the best thing you can do is when it's your turn, you got to get out there and make a name for yourself, because if you do that, you're going to be in the conversation for a wrestle-off later in the year. But if you go to a lot of these open tournaments and these opportunities, when we do throw you in there and you don't win, probably not a lot of reason to put you in a wrestle-off. This is you get a nice thing about being the number 2 guy when the number 1 guy goes down is you got a chance to get yourself back in the game maybe. And so we'll see how they handle that. We're going to have a tournament in the Soldier Salute in 29th and 30th. We're going to have an open tournament here in mid-January. So we'll figure out a lot with this team in those 2 events.
It sounds like with the patience aspect, every wrestler talks about, I got to make the most of my 7 minutes, but maybe if you're impatient and you're not doing well, you feel like you've only got 10 seconds left and you might have 3 minutes. Is that kind of maybe how Cody was? I got to make it up really fast versus, okay, I can take a long game and just wrestle my match. And
yeah, 7 minutes. 7 minutes is really a long time if you think about it. I mean, I always say you can take your opponent from his feet to his back and get a 2 count in about 3 seconds. So you can score 5 points in 3 seconds. So think about that when you have all 320 seconds of wrestling out there, you can score a lot of points. So getting after it, making sure that guy feels you. I mean, sometimes 0-0 is good for some guys because they have great gas tanks. I mean, sure. MJ Gaitan, when he figures out how to go 0-0, because he never gets tired, the second and third period are going to be good for him. And you're all laughing, but it's the truth. It's like if he can ever figure out 0-0 and just stay in there and get that match going without giving up a takedown or back points, he might get his hand raised a lot more. And that's just, I call that wrestling IQ. And so they all got to figure out their own wrestling IQ.
In what ways does an event like the Collegiate Duals, where you're wrestling back to back to back, prepare your guys for Big 12s and NCAAs?
Well, it's great because there are going to be a couple of times where they're going to go back to back. Now, back to back to back might be a lot, but that's the format, and we got to figure it out, and so does the other 3 teams. So, we will take, I think we've got right now 17 in our travel party, and my goal is to wrestle all 17 guys. So you're going to see some shucking and jiving.
How important is this weekend for Christian Carroll? Obviously didn't have the match he wanted to this last weekend.
Christian is a maybe travel guy. He got a little bit dinged up, and maybe he needs to sit. So yeah, it is. I mean, he's got to get back on the horse one way or the other. He's got to figure some things out. He's not getting the job done right now, and he's got to figure some things out.
Thanks, Coach.
All right,
Yep.
thank
Thanks,
you.
Coach.
Appreciate
There
it.
he is, Cody Chittum. I just talk about you.